What's up, bosses? Welcome to About Her Business, the podcast where we leave all the gossip at the door and get straight down to business. I'm your host, Jonte, and today we have the CEO of Entrepreneur, Dr. Terri Levine. Now, Dr. Levine is a business and executive coach with well over 4 decades of experience. She's also a best-selling author, authoring more than 40 books, and a keynote speaker who speaks at conventions worldwide. And she's here today to help us strategize on what she means business. So, ladies, grab your cups and those notepads, and let's get down to it. The meeting is now in session. Welcome, Dr. Levine.
Thank you so much, John Tay. I'm excited to be with you.
Thank you so much for being here. So let's get started.
All
You
right.
you spent more than 4 decades in business. By the way, I want to congratulate you on that because not a lot of people get to spend 4 decades in entrepreneurship. But your background expands into business, sales, and marketing. When you think back to the very beginning of your career, what first sparked your entrepreneurial journey?
I think it was ignorance. So, my first degree was as a speech language pathologist. I got a master's degree in that. And I just came out and thought, "Oh, I'll have my own clinic, like without even really thinking about it. And unbeknownst to me, back so many moons ago, there was no other speech language pathology standalone clinic in the United States. Mine ended up being the first one. So I had no one to help, no role models, no nothing. And it really was out of ignorance. I just thought, oh, I'll have my own thing. And I had a hard learning because right away I realized I knew nothing about sales and marketing or business. I knew everything about speech pathology, but that didn't bring me patience. So it became a learning experience.
Wow. And thank you for sharing because you're well known globally and you've built and sold several multi-million dollar companies. Has there ever been a defining moment where you realized you truly understood how to scale a business?
That's a really good question. So I sold my speech language pathology clinic, and my husband and I had started a home art show business. And I had learned how to do sales and marketing in that clinic. And we started the art business. I thought, I wonder if I could just pull what I know about sales and marketing right over here. And that's what I did. I used the exact same system. And that business took off and it went insane. And then we sold that business, and then I started another company and I just plugged it in. So then I realized I had a system, I had a formula, could plug into any kind of business, any industry, and I was able to run. And my gosh, this is my eighth multi-million dollar business. And I've been in this one 31 years because this is it. This is the final one that I'm at home.
Oh, wow. And once again, I want to congratulate you because not many people get to build a multi-million dollar business, let alone multiple. So that is truly skillful. Now, I do want to ask you what made you move toward the more authentic, people centered communication approach that you teach right now?
I got really burnout on the industry. So, being in this industry a long time, I've seen a lot. I used to own two coach training schools and a business consulting institute, which I also sold. And when I was watching people and listening to people, I was hearing that they were getting marketing and business advice that was, well, first, some of the bro energy. You got to hustle and grind. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. And then I was getting that people are really overwhelmed and confused and frustrated. You're told to, oh, get on podcasts, have a podcast, write articles, blog, go to LinkedIn, have a YouTube channel. You have to be seen on Instagram, Reels, Stories, Facebook, community, do a launch, do a masterclass, do a book. I mean, we could go on and on. And I just felt like everything was very transactional. People weren't being sold to in an ethical way. Funnels definitely contributed to that. Get this. No, you don't need that. You need this. No, you don't need that. You need this. And just trying to up level people. And it repulsed me. Honestly, it turned me off on the industry. And I decided that I was going to disrupt the industry and I was going to show people how to do business heart to heart in a way that's transformational and not transactional. And I am dedicated to that mission.
You've literally built the reputation as being the business expert with heart. So I want to ask you, what does leading with heart actually look like in a day-to-day decision as a business owner?
So I'm going to make a contrast to when I worked in corporate America as CEO of a national healthcare company and how that was transactional and heartless. So Every single day, we had a morning stand up meeting, and all we talked about, we didn't talk about the patients, we didn't talk about the therapists, we talked about numbers. How many new patients did the company, how much productivity were the therapists doing? Everything was numbers. And sometimes in the meetings, people would make comments based on the numbers, like, get rid of that contract, close the clinic, get rid of this therapist. And it was just like pieces of paper. They could care less. Everybody was disposable and expendable. The difference is the way that we run our business is we do have a stand-up 5-minute morning Zoom meeting, and sometimes it's 3 minutes, and it's to celebrate the wins that our clients had, that we as a team had. We actually don't talk about numbers or finance. We talk about that on Fridays very briefly because the rest of the week is focused on helping our clients, making sure that anything we share, post, email, whatever, has maximum value for our audience. And so I wear this little bracelet. On one side, it says serve and create. I keep that on my mind all day. And all I do is serve and create. And then whenever I'm done serving and creating, I turn it over and it has a little check mark. I'm done for the day, whether that's 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock. That to me is leading with heart. It's really caring more about transformation than transaction. And I just have to add this, and I'll tell you one of the things that I cannot stand, well, the Terry pet peeve, is I'm in the 7-figure club or I'm going to ring the bell because I got a client. What? Basically, that you're telling me that client is just a money transaction to you. So the last thing I would think of is ringing the bell or posting something behind me with how much revenue I was doing. I mention revenue only because it adds to the credibility that I've been able to do this repeatedly and have a system. But I certainly wouldn't sit here and go, here's my income from last year. Everybody look at it. So that's the difference. Am I clear?
Yes, you're being clear, and I identify with a lot of what you said. And thank you for creating this system of putting the heart back into the workplace because oftentimes it is very transactional. It's sitting down at a meeting, making a decision, everybody going back to work. Nobody's caring about if anybody's mental health is intact. We're just trying to produce. So I definitely think that your system has created a new work environment, and I love it, by the way. Now,
Thank you.
you have helped more than 7,000 entrepreneurs reach their revenue goals, which is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about the most common patterns you see holding people back?
Yeah, the first pattern that I see is really the overwhelm and the frustration that we just talked about. So they're not sure what to do. And sometimes they're just imitating somebody else. Like, oh, I see this person, they look successful. I'll just do what they're doing. And that might not work for you or your audience. And it might not even be working for them. So that's number one. Number two is the system that I teach that simplifies it. It really is simple. It's a 3-step system. You have one community, one. I don't hang out and spend time on social media. I spend 10 minutes a day in my community. So pick a place to have a community, whether it's school, Mighty Network, Circle. I chose Facebook. I happen to like community on Facebook. 10 minutes a day in your community. Then you need one offer. It's a huge mistake. People come to me. I just talked to a guy today. He's like, well, which of my offers did you want to hear about? Excuse me? He's like, well, I have 6. I'm like, that's a problem right there. Okay. A confused mind doesn't buy. So you need one community, you need one offer. And the last thing you need, this is how simple business is one Google document that describes your offer. And that's all you need. You don't need landing pages. You don't need ClickFunnels. You don't need a website. You don't even need email. I have clients following this system, and the average client pulls in $1,000 a day, every day, using this simple system. It is why I've been able to change my business and work about 20 hours a month, not a week, a month, because I use this simple 3-step system.
No landing page, no going to Instagram, going to Facebook, no multi pages, just one little simple method, and I'm making $1,000 a day.
Yeah. And so in my company, we average a little over 3,000 a day. One of my clients, Kevin, he told me last month he's starting to average 4,800 a day. So the poorest quote average, if I take out the high numbers, is $1,000 a day, each day, every day. It's literally 20 minutes of time.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. So I want to get your advice on for our women entrepreneurs out there because I am just amazed. For the women entrepreneurs out there who know she's talented, but still struggles to value herself, what advice would you have for her?
What an important question. Everything is about our internal and not our external. And I know that you're going to be a psychologist, and I'm one, and I'm also a positive psychologist. So when I start with clients, they're ready. They want, give me the simple three system. Let's get into the strategies and tactics. I'm like, nope. We're going to get into what's going on with you in your inner game and in your mindset. Because even if I give you the tactics, if you're having doubts or self belief, or you don't believe in your program, your product, your system, the outcomes that you can draw in, you're going to find that it becomes very difficult. So we have to work on ourselves, especially as women. My audience is also women, and we give. Women are natural givers. It's in our DNA. We're supposed to take care of people. That is just a part of our DNA. And so we tend to take care of ourselves first. That's the whole oxygen on the airplane to remind us you need it first. And so I have to work with client family members on their inner game first. In fact, it's so funny we're talking about this. I did a post in my Facebook community today, very transparent, honest post. And I said I was using disqualifying words in my own speech and in my own thinking, and they were taking my power away. And I made a shift and I changed four of those words to four way more powerful words. And beyond that, more powerful way of thinking. And I found myself just feeling like I had this extra set of muscles today, and it made all the difference. And so, yes, we need, as women, we need to work on ourselves and our inner game. We need a sisterhood. We need support. We need women who think the way we do to be a part of us, to lift us up. And that's why community is so important to me as well.
I agree. As women, it is tough out there for us. And we do often put ourselves last without necessarily even thinking about it. So, speaking of business, what's one marketing bill you wish more people would let go?
Hey, really good question. I'm going to give you two. Yeah, one is sales and one is marketing. So, sales, people get really flustered when they're selling. And one of the beliefs that they have is that they have to convince people. And I let that go years ago. This is sales to me. And that's why if you come to my home and you had a long journey, I will say, Shantae, would you like some iced tea, some lemonade, some water? I make an offer, extend my hand. If you say yes, great. If you say no, great. I don't then go, really? It's fresh lemonade. I just made it. You really should have it. Try a little bit, right? So I'm not going to convince you. So that's the marketing faux pas. The marketing is simply this, selling is simply this. I have an offer. Would you like it? That's it. You extend your hand. They say yes or no. It's not personal. I don't take it personal if you want to drink or you don't want to drink or you take my offer or you don't. So that's the sales one. The marketing one is to constantly be putting an offer in front of people over and over and over again. Let me tell you, I don't put out a lot of offers. In fact, unless you've had a conversation with me, you don't even know what my high ticket offer is or that I have one. Okay. Because it's not out there. There's no landing page, there's no information on it, there's no document on it. I've had a conversation with someone, and as I listen, I think, I can help them. Then I would extend my hand for that. So, what I see a lot, particularly on social media, is like the offers out there all the time. And then they're DMing the offer, and then they're emailing the offer. And then today, and they're also texting the offer. Instead, what if you follow very simple? Marketing is just creating massive value. If you don't have enough clients, if you're not making enough money, creating enough value, sister. You got to get out there and you got to just create value, value, value. So to me, all of marketing is education and it is giving value. And that's it.
A simple method that a lot of people, especially myself, because I've been an entrepreneur for a couple of years now, and I did think that I had to convince people in order to buy my product. So hearing your system, it sounds like you're presenting something to people and giving them the option to think, hey, is this for me or is this not for me? And then, as the entrepreneur, actually being able to walk away and move on with your life without holding that regret.
Yeah, you said that really well. And I won't overcome objections. If you say it's not the right time, okay. If you say I don't have the money, okay. If you say I'm not, okay. I'm not going to sit there and try to convince someone of something. So if you have an objection, you could either choose to still come into the program and figure it out, deal with your objection, or you can say, yeah, it's not for me. And that's totally fine either way. There's enough people in the world. I do not come from scarcity that I know the right people always show up.
Now, Dr. Levine, you have not had any trouble selling. You are a best-selling author of more than 40 books. What motivates you to keep writing and educating after so many years?
I think it's in my blood. When I was 7 years old, I lived in New York and there was a contest where you could write a letter to Santa. And if your letter got chosen, you won all kinds of popular toys at the time or whatever. And so my teacher had talked about it in school and I told my parents about it. And they said, well, we get that newspaper. Here's the address. You can write a letter. We'll mail it for you. So I wrote a letter. I, to this day, could not tell you what was in the letter because I do not remember. What I do remember is coming home from school one day and my parents going, you won the letter to Santa contest. And I went, what? They said, yeah, we just got a thing. You're going to be announced in the newspaper tomorrow and you're getting all these gifts. And I went to school and was like so excited, told my teacher, and she said, that's because you're a natural writer. You're going to write books, Terry. And I remember I was 7. I thought, yeah, okay, right. At 9, I wrote a poem and won a poetry contest. So this is kind of in my blood. So right now, I'm not writing any more books. I just finished my 41st book. And now I'm ghostwriting for other people. And writing is natural to me. Sharing information and educating people, I feel is what I'm meant to do on the planet. So it has to come out as my outlet. And whether I'm writing for other people or writing for myself, it's my outlet, so I'm a writer.
So, Dr. Levine, you did just mention you released your book. Can you reveal to our audience what the title is and where they can find it?
Yeah, so it's called Life First Business, and this is how I create businesses. You create your delicious life with a life plan. Then we take a look at your business and we make sure that it fits in there. So it's living your life by design and not by default, which a lot of female business owners do. They build this business and they go, I'm missing my life. We don't want to do that. And I made it available at book.terrylevine.com. Book.terrylevine.com. And let me tell you why. I just won 3 lawsuits with Amazon where they gave my current book sitting on Amazon to AI to use for prompts. And so I just won $7,500 in them sharing my books with Claude. And so, yeah, there's a lot of this going on with AI. And so I decided not to release my book on Amazon. And that's why it's sitting on its own website at book.terrylevine.com.
Wow.
How
And
about that?
right. I think you just revealed to a lot of authors out there, including myself, who have books on Amazon, that this is going on. So actually, we really thank you for sharing that with us because I had no idea about that. But
Yeah.
but I will be leaving all that down in the description box below, and we're going to make sure that we get all that information again at the end of today's episode. So stay tuned. Now, I want to shift a little bit to the entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship can be glamorous to a lot of people on the outside, but we both know better. What were some lessons or moments in your career that truly tested you, and what helped you get through it?
Gosh. So the very first one, and it was a real challenge, is I brought someone into my coaching school to do sales. And basically that was just to have conversations, extend her hand. She kept telling me that it was really hard to get people on the phone because she wasn't a co-founder. And could we just change the website to say co-founder? I did that. Shortly after I did that, she tried to claim that she owned the company. No kidding. She was a 1099 and not, yeah. So she sued me, and I had to spend over $300,000 and 14 years in and out of the courts and a 9-day trial to get away from this person in this lawsuit. So the learning was never just give anyone a title without thinking through what exactly could happen. The good news from, and you really do take it as good news, is it definitely stressed me out, not gonna lie. Definitely caused me to like rethink about entrepreneurship and rethink about my trust in humanity. And the really good part of it is the lesson that I walked away with is I learned that I have to have better business practices, stronger boundaries. And I also learned that if my gut feels a little bit off, which it did the first time I spoke to this person, to start saying no and listen to my gut. So I go back and I look at that and I say, yeah, it was part of my life movie. It was a little painful experience in my life movie. And yet it was one of the best blessings.
Oh, wow. And again, thank you for sharing because I would have never thought. So thank you for just being vulnerable with our audience. And I want to ask you from that situation, how have you used it to help the people that you're working with today?
Yeah, so I work with every single person I work with that wants to bring in someone on their team, joint venture partner, collaborate, hire, independent contract. I work with them to really talk about the roles and responsibilities, to lay out clear documentation. And now I have tons of documents from my attorney, which cost me a fortune, that I share with my clients. So I don't have to go hire an attorney. It's like, this is the document you need. If they don't sign that, walk away from the deal. And so I can be like a protective mama now and have all of their backs. I just stopped one of them from what could have been a really, really difficult relationship to get out of. And I guess I'll give the audience this gift. Be very careful of the word joint venture. We understand in the industry, joint venture is someone doing a partnership with you, and we're going to promote things together. That is not the way the courts look at it. Joint venture means you have a legal partnership contract and you now co-own each other's businesses. So I was taught in this lawsuit by my 3 attorneys, never use the word joint venture, ever, ever, ever. So it's out of everything that we do. So there's a gift.
Oh, thank you. You are dropping the gems today because I don't think that a lot of people think about the legalities when starting a business. You've given us a lot of great advice, especially on the legal aspects. So I want to ask you, what shifts usually create the biggest breakthrough for your clients?
I think it's the biggest shift is, I guess there's 2 of them. We'll do the internal first, is confidence. Because if you don't have confidence and you're advising someone, they can feel it and they are going to be repelled versus attracted. So if you know that you're good at what you do, you love what you do, you get results for people, you've got to build that confidence muscle. You've got to sound confident, you've got to look confident, you've got to feel confident. And I'm not talking about fake it till you make it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about building the confidence muscle truly from the inside out. And the second shift is make business simple. This little 3-step framework I gave you is so ridiculously easy. Anyone can do it. You then get your life back and you still get to make a huge impact. So you increase your impact, your influence while increasing your income. Those are my 2 gifts that I want everyone to take away.
Oh, and again, you're helping me out as an entrepreneur who's still learning in this game. And I do believe that a lot of the tips that you gave, especially the confidence, because I can't tell you how many years it took me to build my confidence just to even start a podcast.
Yes.
And once I did, though, I created another podcast and now I'm hosting it by myself. So it takes confidence. It takes believing in yourself, even when nobody's buying. You still got to believe. Even if nobody believes in your vision, you still got to believe. Even if you rejected for your first grant or your first business loan, you still got to believe. You got to just consistently believe in yourself until you actually get to wherever it is that you want to be. Now, I have only a few more questions for you today, Dr. Levine. I want to ask you. You've spoken on stages across the world. Is there a particular audience or a moment from a stage that stayed with you?
Yeah. Oh, it was a really deep one. So I was going to be the keynote speaker at a conference in Israel called the Happiness Conference. And I had written a book way back when called Work Yourself Happy. And so I'm in the audience. There is a huge event. So I don't know, 600, 800 people in the audience. And I'm waiting to be called up on stage to do the keynote. And right before they introduce me, a woman yells out from the audience, I just came from Elon and there was a suicide bomber, but it's okay. Only 3 people died. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm looking around the room and everyone else seemed like it was totally normal news, just like saying it's raining out, not realizing how they live in Israel. And so then, I'm introduced to lead off this happiness conference. And I got on stage thinking, this is hard to deliver because I'm not feeling happiness right now. And so I made a pretty big shift in the presentation and talked about the internal and how when you get news that isn't great, how do you shift? Because I had to shift. I did an exercise with the audience that I wasn't planning on to help everyone shift. That talk comes back to me over and over again because right as you're introduced on stage for a happiness conference, this lands. It was really interesting, and I had to quickly figure out how to rebound and how to restructure my keynote. I kind of abandoned the keynote that was ready and said, I got to do this in the moment.
Oh, wow. And I couldn't imagine having to give a speech after something like that happening. Dr. Levine is showing us the warrior in her, and that's exactly why she's been in this game for more than 4 decades. Now, let's talk about marketing. What changes are you seeing right now in marketing and entrepreneurship that women should be paying more attention to?
So, two things, again, I have a lot of twos. One, you need to pay attention to the overuse of AI. And I do mean the overuse. People are getting very turned off by it, whether it's on social media or a few weeks ago, I downloaded a book to my Kindle and I went to open the book and the cover is the name of the book, and underneath it, it said written by AI. I'm like, I'm getting a refund. I just paid $14.99 for a book generated by AI. And I contacted Amazon and they gave the money back instantly. And they said, that's why we're now labeling the books so you know right away. Be very careful. Social media, that's AI posts, people don't tend to pay attention to anymore. Please use your own photos, your own videos. We don't want to see avatars and more fake people. We don't want to hear more fake voices. We are looking for realism in marketing. And the companies that are winning are now going away from AI and saying, okay, we've tried that. Now we're going to go back. So that's one thing. The second thing, and this is really vital for women, is in marketing, we need to do things that are proven. There's a lot of marketing that isn't proven, that's just out there. It's like, oh, do this, some magical thing is going to happen. So be very discerning. Think about where can you get the best information and how can you get the accountability to make sure that you're implementing. And whether that's getting a coach, a consultant, a mentor, a community, to me, that's really, really important. And I'm going to add a third one. I can't help it. Keep away from the bro energy. The F bombing people, grow up, use a better vocabulary, yelling at people, it's not necessary, talking down to people, all of that. And the hustle and the grinding, it's not a way of living. It's not sustainable. And I just have to say this, Shanti, we all have our check-in dates, our birth dates. We don't know our check-out dates. Do you really want to spend every moment of your life? We could leave the planet in a nanosecond working. I don't. I want to make a contribution to society. I want to spend time with my family, which was my first priority, my friends, and my client family members, and my health, and my relationships, and my community, and my spirituality, and my hobbies, and vacationing. You have to have a life first business.
You gave 3 incredible tips. And b again, being an entrepreneur, AI was the first thing that I saw. Take this class, take this course, here's this conference. So, it was one of those things where I started to believe I had to use AI in order to be an entrepreneur. Another great point you made is on the marketing that's not proven. I can't tell you how many people out here who are selling, who sold or are selling marketing courses that has no actual success to it. It just turned out to be a great venture for them that one time, and now they're turning into coaches teaching other people, and it does not work out for them. And they're going, well, what happens? So
Right.
I really do appreciate you for going into detail with our audience because those are two things that I would have never thought about.
I'm happy to share.
So I want to ask you, with everything that you've accomplished, how do you personally define success at this stage in your life and career?
So, first, am I living a delicious life? Am I really living my life by design, the plan that I laid out? Am I having the best life I could have? That's number one. Number two is, am I making contribution to society, to family, to friends? And then the third one is, are my clients getting results? Are they having the transformation that they've come for? And if those things are all met, I couldn't ask for anything else.
I can't tell you because being young and taking a risk on life to be free, spend more time with my family and volunteer and be of service, which really gives me a purpose in life. So I totally resonate with what you just said. Now, Dr. Levine, we have sadly come to the end of today's episode, and we always leave with a legacy. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about this. When someone thinks back on our conversation today, how do you want Dr. Terri Levine to be remembered?
For reminding you that life comes before business and business can be easy, effortless, joyful, and fun.
Oh, perfect. Simple and perfectly said. Sadly, our episode, you guys, has come to the end with Dr. Levine. But before we go, we want to make sure we get all of her information. We want to know where we can get the books, where we can sign up on your website for services. Let us know all the details.
So definitely get your copy of Life First Business, and that is at book.terrylevine.com. And then join my community because I give free training, free coaching, free consulting, huge amounts of value there. And you'll have other opportunities. You can even get interviewed inside the community and be seen. And that community is at www.heart, the word heart, then RE, preneurs with an S. So heartpreneurs.com.
Oh,
And once you join the community, introduce yourself.
and I will be leaving all that information down in the description box below. I want to leave the last word before we adjourn today's meeting to Dr. Levine.
My last words are this: create the life and business that you desire and you deserve.
And ladies, the meeting is now adjourned. Thanks again to Dr. Terry Levine and Entrepreneur for coming on and offering all of her insights. And be sure to subscribe to About Her Business wherever you receive your podcast so you never miss an upload. Also, leave us some comments down in the comment section on which industry you think we should interview next. Until next time, keep your goals tight, that circle tighter, and that bank account growing.